Chapter 2. Josh looked over the side of the Mayflower too. "There are sharks here," he said. The boatmaster laughed. "I don't know about now, but I saw quite a few during the crossing." They followed the boat to eat the kitchen leavings that the crew tossed overboard. "We want to see Plymouth Rock next. Can you tell us where it is?" The man pointed to a small concrete building not far away from the boat. "'Tis under that roof," he said. "Be sure to visit the Pilgrim Museum, too. 'Tis a short walk from the rock." The kids left the Mayflower, too, then hiked across a parking lot. They passed through a small grove of trees and came to a concrete building with columns in front. Behind the columns was a black fence. A few other people were standing by the fence, looking down at a large gray rock. The date 1620 had been etched into one side of it. And I'm going to pause the book right there because we actually went this summer on vacation and we saw Plymouth Rock. So I was going to show you a few of my pictures. This is a sign, Plymouth Rock, landing place of the Pilgrim, 1620. This in the background is the columns that they were just talking about in the book. And there's a fence on the inside of the column, and I'm going to slide over to show you the rock. And there's the actual Plymouth Rock that they're looking at in the book. So this is a couple of the pictures that are around. That's what some of the buildings look like around. And there's a restaurant right there on the corner, which could be the one that they're talking about that they go to eat at in a few minutes. And then you have, here's the sign, "Welcome to Historic Plymouth." So I just thought that would be interesting for you to see related to the book. So back to the book. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose joined the people at the fence. Ruth Rose opened her guidebook to the right page. "No one knows for sure if the Pilgrims really stepped on this rock when they got off the Mayflower, but the ship landed near here, so they might have." Suddenly, Josh lifted his head. "I smell food. I'm hungry. Again? I'm a growing boy. If I don't eat 8 times a day, my brain will shrink." Ruth Rose and Dink burst out laughing. "Well, let's go find food fast. We don't want your brain to get any smaller." The kids chose a restaurant across the street from the Pilgrim Museum. They each ordered a tuna sandwich and hot chocolate. After they paid, Ruth Rose walked over to a game machine called the Iron Claw. It was filled with toy prizes. "These things are rip-offs," Josh told Ruth Rose. He dropped some change into a candy machine, got peanut-filled M&Ms, and shoved the bag into a pocket. "Well, I want to get that stuffed mouse for my cat," Ruth Rose said. Using the joystick, she moved the iron claw until it was inches above the mouse. She pulled the stick forward, lowering the claw. Then she pushed the button on the stick, and the claw grabbed at the mouse. But at the last second, the claw snagged a plastic necklace. "Told you so," Josh said. The claw brought the prize to the little opening in front of Ruth Rose. With a rattle, the necklace landed in the tray. She pulled it out. The necklace had a cheap tin chain and 10 plastic diamonds the size of grapes. "Ooh, look at those huge diamonds," Josh teased. "Gee, that necklace must be worth about nothing." "It's not so bad," Dink said, "and it's probably worth more than the quarter it cost you." "Well, I'll like it," Ruth Rose said. She slid the necklace over her head and tucked it beneath her sweatshirt. The kids hurried across Court Street to the museum. Inside, there were 4 little rooms. Each was filled with stuff from the Mayflower or from England in the 1600s. They saw furniture, cooking pots, and a hand-carved bench that came over on the Mayflower. There were several paintings showing the Mayflower and some of its passengers. Dink stopped in front of a glass display dome. Inside, he saw a quill pen and ink holder. A small sign said that these writing tools had belonged to William Bradford, the governor of the New Plymouth colony. He later wrote a book called History of Plymouth Plantation. "Hey guys, over here," Josh said. He was looking at a list inside a frame. "These are the names of all the people who came over on the Mayflower," he whispered. There were 102 names on the list, written alphabetically. Next to the names were the dates when the people had died, many in the winter of 1620. "Look, there's Emma Brown. It was her jewelry that was stolen from the hold." Below the passenger list was a shorter list of Mayflower crew members. Dink quickly found Lawrence Mudgett. Next to his name was a question mark and November 1620. This is the guy who stole it, Dink reminded Josh and Ruth Rose. A man had walked up behind the kids. They never found him or the jewelry, the man said. The kids turned and looked at the man. He was dressed in khakis and a blue shirt. His black hair was cut short. My name's Clint. I'm a docent, a fancy word for guide. I'm really an actor, but I do this for extra money. He opened a plastic container of mints, popped one in his mouth, and held the container toward the kids. Want one? They're cinnamon flavored. No, thank you. Dink introduced himself and Josh and Ruth Rose. We're staying at the Governor Bradford Hotel, he said. Our families are going to have dinner on Thanksgiving Day like the Pilgrims did. If you're interested in Lawrence Mudgett, I can show you something, the man said. He led them to a stack of thin booklets piled on a table. The title of the booklets was Mudgett and the Missing Jewels, a muddlesome Mayflower mystery. The kids each took one of the booklets. Ruth Rose opened her guidebook. This says the Mayflower landed in another place before they came here to Plymouth, she said. Right. That was up near Provincetown, Clint said. He popped another mint. The crew spent about a month there exploring, but they couldn't find fresh water and winter was coming, so the Mayflower set sail again and ended up here in Plymouth. Some people figured Mudgett hid the loot in Provincetown, where they first hit land. Clint shook his head. Can you imagine what those jewels would be worth today? Dink was looking at a little frame. Inside the frame was a charcoal drawing on a piece of cloth. It looked like a child's drawing of the Mayflower anchored near a shore. There was a beach with trees and big rocks. One rock was tall and very narrow with a pointy top. It leaned to one side and looked like it was ready to fall over. The rock resembled an eagle with its beak pointing up at the sky. The picture also showed a small boat on the shore carrying about 10 passengers. What's this? Josh asked. I think it's supposed to be the Mayflower Landing. Yeah, but where? I mean, is this the first landing or is it when they got here to Plymouth? They think it's up the coast in Provincetown. See those tall rocks? Some of them are still there. The docent pointed to a small sign on the wall next to the drawing. Excuse me, I have more customers. So he walked away. Dink read the words out loud. This drawing was found in the belongings of Mr. Lawrence Mudgett, who disappeared. It is believed that he drew the picture in November 1620 on the occasion of the first landfall. Gosh, if Mudgett drew this, maybe it's a map of where he hid the jewels. We'll get to chapter 3.